Good morning to all Pittsburgh and beyond. Welcome to Pitt to the Point, live from the state-of-the-art Pitt Studios. I'm Vineet Joshi.
And I'm Jacqueline Napier. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning.
Pitt to the Point covers everything going on at the University of Pittsburgh.
All the way to the point. We cover news for the entire Pittsburgh area. We'll be discussing everything going on in the city, from entertainment, politics, and sports, as well as what's happening right here on the Pitt campus.
But most importantly, we're getting you folks ready to start your Pittsburgh day off right. And up first, a number of Port Authority drivers have been suspended for not meeting the transit agency's vaccine mandate deadline.
Port Authority may also choose to adjust their mask requirements for drivers. This would be based on whether Congress passes a bill extending the federal mask mandate for public transit.
For more on this, here's medical reporter Tyler Vandenberg. Tyler.
Thanks, Jackie and Vineet. 2 weeks ago, your Medical Minute team covered new CDC mask wearing guidelines in Allegheny County. This week, I had the chance to talk with Port Authority spokesperson Adam Brandoff to ask about their plans going forward following this change.
The Transportation Security Administration recently extended their mask mandate for public transportation. It was originally set to expire on March 18th, but is now set to expire on April 18th unless it is extended again. On Tuesday, the United States Senate voted to overturn the mask mandate for public transit, but that bill would still have to pass through the House and be signed by President Biden before having any effect.
I think it's likely that we're going to be following whatever the TSA prescribes. So as of right now, the Senate bill notwithstanding, we will likely, if the TSA mask mandate expires on April 18th, it's likely that we'll put out a policy that would reflect the change in their policy as well. I think right now we're talking on March 16th. As of today, all of our drivers are fully vaccinated. Port Authority had a vaccine requirement. We put it out in early February, I believe it was February 1st, telling all of our employees that they needed to be fully vaccinated by the end of the day on March 15th. That day obviously came and went yesterday. Today, there remained about 400 employees who decide not to be vaccinated. That's their choice. That's their decision. But ultimately, it's a policy. It's a violation of a Port Authority policy. And so they were put on leave. Currently, it is with pay pending a disciplinary hearing. And then once they have those disciplinary hearings, they will likely start on Friday, continue into next week. Once they start, they will either show proof that they have a first vaccination, then they'll be put on a 30-day probationary period, or they could face discipline up to and including termination.
While the mask mandate is still in place, please continue to mask up and remember to thank your driver. We also have an update for you on Pitt mask mandates. The COVID-19 Medical Response Office sent out an email yesterday stating that the Healthcare Advisory Group has recommended relaxing Pitt's masking requirements to align with current CDC guidelines. The dates that the relaxed guidelines go into effect are going to be announced next week. Your Pitt to the Point Medical Minute team will continue to keep you updated on mask requirements on public transportation, as well as the relaxing of guidelines on the University of Pittsburgh's campus. For Pitt to the Point, I'm your medical reporter, Tyler Vandenberg. Vineet, Jackie.
Thank you so much for that, Tyler. In other news, Port Authority is offering free rides to all passengers up until this coming Sunday, March 20th.
Due to the driver shortages and canceled bus routes as a result of these suspensions, Port Authority hopes to compensate riders with these free rides.
A number of workers and students do rely on public transport to commute to their respective jobs and classes each day.
Hopefully, the shortage will end soon so that we can all make good use of public transit.
And as students, I know that we would very much like to keep as much use or make as much use of our tuition money as possible by using our student IDs to get those unlimited Port Authority trips.
That's right, Vineet. And even though I'm about to graduate in just a few months, I still can't argue with that.
And in other news, the U.S. Senate passed a bill that makes daylight savings time permanent.
A similar bill was signed by President Nixon in 1973, but was repealed only a year later.
So the decision to now reinstate this change has got Americans talking.
Here are some thoughts from a local Pitt student.
Yeah, I heard about it. I was kind of surprised that they actually went ahead and made that change, because I know people have talked about it in the past, but I kind of thought precedent would just keep going and that they would never actually change it. As far as my thoughts, I think it's probably a good idea. Like getting that extra hour of sleep in the fall is nice, but when you lose it in the spring, it really just kind of messes up your whole day and your whole schedule. So I think I support it. Yeah, that's a good point. Having that extra hour in the evening to go outside and play as a kid or just have good outdoor time as an adult, I think is helpful, rather than having that hour in the morning, or most people are just waking up and going straight to work or straight to school where they're inside. So I think, having that hour in the afternoon will be beneficial.
The permanent daylight savings time is set to begin at the start of next year in 2023.
So starting this coming January, be sure to set your clocks back an hour and never have to touch it again.
Onto the political front, following the 2020 presidential election, there's been a lot of discussion regarding the system of mail-in ballots.
The Pennsylvania Supreme Court held a hearing regarding the constitutionality of a no-excuse mail-in ballot system. Our political reporter Jamie Ely has more. Jamie?
As they are deciding the fate of PA's popular vote-by-mail system. If the system is struck down, 2.5 million voters could be impacted. I spoke with one of the case's lead attorneys, Wally Zimmerlong, to discuss the details of the case. The state Supreme Court is hearing a case to determine whether or not the expansive no-excuse vote-by-mail system is unconstitutional. The law, known as Act 77, was widely approved by the Republican-controlled legislature in 2019 and introduced a wide sweep expansion of voting access. However, Republicans are now challenging it. The argument is that the state legislature does not have the power to make such a change to voting laws under the state constitution. Lawyers for the case also argue that PA's constitution requires voters to appear at polling places on Election Day, unless they are eligible for an absentee ballot. While the lower appellate court sided with the lawyers and Republicans in January, arguments are still being held, with critics of the case claiming that this lawsuit is an effort to suppress voters and give one party a better chance at the polls. If Act 77 is overturned, there will still be an absentee voting system in place, but roughly 2.5 million voters could lose their shot at making their voices heard and choosing their representation in the government.
The case isn't about whether mailed voting is per se a bad policy idea. The case is really about whether mailed voting is permitted in Pennsylvania under the Pennsylvania Constitution. Our position is the Pennsylvania Constitution needs to be amended to bring mailed voting to Pennsylvania. And if that were to occur, you could have mailed voting. I would expect it soon. I believe it's the end of the month, March 30th or March 31st, is when local county boards of elections can begin sending out mailed ballots to voters. We would think that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court would want a decision in place so there's no confusion. Our petition was filed in the Commonwealth Court in the summer. And we specifically filed it in the summer of 2021 so that it was in sufficient time in advance of an election so that we avoid any disruptions to the election. And we've had absentee voting, a form of absentee voting in Pennsylvania since at least 1949. And actually, that's one of the arguments that's principal to our case, is that absentee voting comes to Pennsylvania by a constitutional amendment, Article 7, Section 14 of the Pennsylvania Constitution.
There is no sign how quickly the court will rule, but Zimmerlong expects a decision by the end of March. Meanwhile, 2.5 million people anxiously wait to see if they can vote by mail. Regardless, both sides are encouraging residents to vote in the upcoming primary and midterm elections. For Pitt to the Point, I'm political reporter Jamie Ely. Vineet, Jackie.
Coming up after the break, the Alumni Spotlight, the Pitt Beat, and a heartwarming Clubbing at Pitt segment.
So don't go anywhere. There's more to come on Pitt to the Point.
They come here, forged in the spirit of change, pushing to answer the questions and then questioning the answers, embracing each challenge as fuel for reinventing the world. Because here, leadership, courage, creativity, innovation, and progress are always in progress. The University of Pittsburgh. Forge ahead.
H2P is short for Hail to Pitt, our Panther fight song. But we also use it to express just how much we love it here. There are so many reasons to hail, but here are just a few. Hail to Kathy!
Hail to the Nationality Room.
To WPTS Radio.
Hail to Oakland.
Hail to Shenley Plaza.
Hail to Forbes Avenue.
Hail to the towers.
Hail to Cardiac Hill.
To Hillman Library.
Hail to the University of Pittsburgh.
Hail to Pittsburgh.
Hail to Heinz Field.
Hail to Pitt.
Hello and welcome back to Pitt to the Point.
This week, our alumni spotlight shines on Corey Black, a dental student and recipient of the Best and Brightest Scholarship.
Margot Renzel has the story. Take a look.
My name is Corey Black. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh in 2011 from undergrad, and then 2017 from Pitt Dental School. My time at Pitt was just amazing. I was, super involved, but I kind of balanced the academic portion with like the all these other things that the school offered. So I was the first person to receive the dental public health certificate. So it was a good amount of work. It took about a year. And it was worth it because I made history. So after college, I was fortunate to match at a hospital or general practice residency program at a really, I guess I'd say prominent hospital in Brooklyn, to be a Black doctor treating people who look like me. It was amazing. I got fired 2 times in my first year, which for me, it was like soul crushing. That was also the catalyst to open up my own office. My whole philosophy is if it's been done before, I can definitely do it, and I can do it better. In October of 2020, we opened, and to be honest, we have been extremely successful. Like, I think during those years in my early 20s at Pitt is where I really just learned to not give up, because I kept pushing. Was I the most competitive applicant? No, but I was good enough. And that for me showed that no matter what, no matter your circumstances, no matter your background, just keep pushing, and God or the universe, whatever you believe in, will make a way for you. That's my real belief.
Thank you for that amazing piece, Margot.
Wow, yet another Pitt alum showcasing what it means to be the cream of the crop, both in and outside the classroom.
A big congratulations to Dr. Corey Black. Keep it up.
Next up, the Pittsburgh property management company, Walnut Capital, aims to make some incredible renovations around the South Oakland neighborhood.
For more on this, here's our Pitt beat reporter, Ryan Derstowitz. Ryan, what do you got for us?
Mayor Ed Gainey has just recently announced that he has made a deal with Walnut Capital, which is one of the main development companies here in Pittsburgh, on the Oakland Crossings project. The project has plans to completely renovate about 17 acres of the South Oakland neighborhood in hopes that it will make the neighborhood more dynamic and welcoming for non-student residents. Walnut Capital is the development company in charge with the Oakland Crossings project, and they have helped change many neighborhoods in Pittsburgh, including one of their most recent projects, Bakery Square in East Liberty. But for the Oakland Crossings project, however, they want to do something different. Walnut Capital wants to revamp and modernize the Oakland neighborhood into so much more. Walnut Capital has plans to completely renovate about 17 acres of the South Oakland neighborhood around McKee Place, Halkett Street, and the UPMC McGee Women's Hospital. One of their main goals with the Oakland Crossings project is to add more affordable housing to the area. This will allow the people that work in Oakland to walk to work instead of driving or relying on public transportation. By adding this affordable housing, Walnut Capital also hopes to add more non-student residents to the area and make it a more family-friendly neighborhood. They also hope to add a grocery store to Oakland and more retail stores that the neighborhood doesn't have but others do. With this project, Walnut Capital would be able to create about 4,000 union construction jobs for people living in the Pittsburgh area. By creating these jobs, Walnut Capital would be able to develop and renovate more neighborhoods in Pittsburgh. They would also be able to create more community spaces for all people to enjoy. There has been some concern, though, from some people about one part of the project in particular, that being the new zoning process. Walnut Capital wants to create a new zoning subdistrict in the area they are renovating, but some members of City Council believe that the process was not introduced the right way and should have been discussed with community members. Walnut Capital hopes that they will be able to create an agreement with City Council sooner rather than later. Although construction has not yet begun in South Oakland, Walnut Capital is eager to begin the project. We will see how Oakland changes over time and the effects it will have on Pitt and its students. For Pitt to the Point, I'm Pitt Beat reporter Ryan Derstowitz. Benit, Jackie?
Thank you so much for that, Ryan. And now onto our segment for Clubbing at Pitt.
During spring break last week, Pitt's Habitat for Humanity Club took a trip to North Carolina and helped build a house for a family in need, starting with just a concrete slab.
Adam Stout has more. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Nicole Lemonjelly. I'm the president of Habitat for Humanity at Pitt. I've been in the club for 4 years. The vision of Habitat for Humanity International is a world where everyone has a decent place to live. But what our mission here at the University of Pittsburgh is to further that affordable housing mission of Habitat for Humanity International within our own Pittsburgh community. And during our spring break trip, we tried to do that in another community. So this year we went down to Wilmington, North Carolina, and worked with Cape Fear Habitat for Humanity on a community of homes that they're working on down there. And while we were there, we finished the framework for an entire house. We started with an empty slab of cement, and we got all the walls up of the external frame and also part of the roof. And the trip was a great success. We finished more than they expected of us, which is great, always great to hear. And we made a ton of incredible memories and really grew as a club.
And if you guys want to get more involved with our club on a weekly basis, we have weekly meetings every Tuesday at 9 p.m. in Lawrence Hall. And we also have weekly work days every Saturday. They're typically 8:30 to around 3 p.m. Not mandatory for any members, but they're a really fun way to get involved with the club.
Hey everyone, my name is Emily Kelly. I am a junior at Pitt, and I am the social media chair with Habitat for Humanity. So our Instagram handle is H4HPitt, and if you follow us, you'll see all kinds of awesome updates about what we're doing with the club, what we're doing as like friends who are in the club, because we're all really close. But you'll also get resources on how to join the club. So we have a lot of different ways to get involved. You can come to our Tuesday night meetings in Lawrence Hall. You can sign up for our email list. You can join our group me. But no matter what you do, it's going to be a really great experience, and we look forward to having you.
Thank you for that piece, Adam.
And a big thank you to Habitat for Humanity and those amazing members from Pitt.
Coming up, we have the scoop on the sports front with Josh Feldman.
So stick around and we'll be right back with Pitt to the Point.
They come here, forged in the spirit of change, pushing to answer the questions, and then questioning the answers, embracing each challenge as fuel for reinventing the world. Because here, leadership, courage, creativity, innovation, and progress are always in progress. The University of Pittsburgh.
Hello, welcome back to Pitt to the Point, your number one source for news at Pitt in the Great Steel City.
And now onto the sports front. March Madness has been underway, and Panther Baseball has taken in a new coaching staff member, an all-star catcher turned assistant baseball coach.
Our sports reporter Josh Feldman has the scoop. Josh?
Thanks, guys. I'm here live in front of PPG Arena, where in just a few hours, Ohio State and Loyola Chicago will tip off, starting the first of a 4-game slate here in Pittsburgh. Our city sports reporter Mia Wodella had the chance to speak with fans ahead of today's matchups.
Welcome back, basketball fans. March Madness is here. I'm in front of PPG Paints Arena, where the first and second round of NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament is being hosted. This is the fourth time in a decade that Pittsburgh has hosted the NCAA Men's Division I Basketball March Madness. Starting Friday, March 18th, basketball will return to the City of Bridges. The streets near the arena are packed with fans from all over celebrating their team and St. Patrick's Day. So, what keeps NCAA tournament keep coming back to Pittsburgh?
It's a really big sports city. You know, you have the Steelers and the Pirates, but they don't have a basketball team. But I think a lot of people in Pittsburgh really love basketball. So bringing basketball over to Pittsburgh, I think will draw a lot of fans. So I think it's a good city for it.
My bracket, I have like an underdog. I have TCU going to the Final Four, and I have Gonzaga losing in the first round. I think Gonzaga is really overrated, playing a 16th seed. I don't think they're going to make it past the first round. TCU, I think, is a really good team, great shooters.
You can watch the tournament unfold beginning Friday at noon, where Ohio State, number 7 seed, matches up with number 10, Loyola Chicago. Following number 2, Villanova will face Delaware at 2:45 p.m. Illinois, a number 4, against number 13, Chattanooga at 6:50 p.m. And number 5, Houston, plays number 12, University of Alabama, Birmingham at 9:20 p.m. I'm Pitt to the Point City Sports reporter Mia Wodella outside of PPG Paints Arena, keeping you updated on everything March Madness in the Steel City. Now let's hear from Pitt Sports reporter Josh Feldman.
March Hoops is in fact madness in Pittsburgh right now. As scheduled for tomorrow, hosted by Duquesne University, is the D3 Women's Tournament Final. where Hope takes on Wisconsin Whitewater. Hope comes in as a heavy favorite as they head into Saturday's final with an impressive 31-1 record. In other news, back down in Oakland, Pitt baseball, fresh off a 21-6 home opening victory, looks to keep that momentum going into this weekend's road series against Virginia Tech. I had a chance to speak to volunteer assistant coach and 2014 MLB All-Star catcher, Devin Mesoraco.
I always kind of like the other side of the game as far as the scouting and player development and coaching and really all that stuff. So I think that, you know, in the back of my mind, that was something that I always wanted to do. But as you're playing, right, like you got to be so focused on the day-to-day and getting better and improving and really working on your craft that you don't have a whole lot of time to think about the future. So it really took, you know, a year or two to sit down and say, hey, you know, what is the plan here for the rest of my life? You know, I can't be retired at 30 and do nothing. So, you know, coaching was an easy fit.
Despite the success of Mesoraco's playing career, Devin knows that being a talented coach is a totally different ballgame.
You want to give the guys good information that can help them. And if you can do that, it doesn't matter how good of a player you were, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a good coach. You have to be able to give the guys stuff that can help them and help their careers, and that's what it's about.
After playing 8 seasons in the big leagues, it may come as a surprise to some that Mesoraco chose to coach the college game, but according to Devin, it's even more intense than the pros.
Every game down here kind of feels like a playoff game because, you know, there's only 56 games or 50, and every game is so incredibly important that, you know, you got to go out there and compete the best that you can and try to win each game.
With his major league career spent in Cincinnati and New York, Mesoraco took advantage of a chance to come back closer to home, coaching in Pittsburgh roughly an hour and a half away from his hometown.
My family, we lived in Punxsutawney as I was playing there for a while. Later in my career, we decided to move down to Pittsburgh just for more opportunities for our children and things to do. And that obviously played a role. Like, I don't think I would be coaching anywhere else in college, right? To be at Pitt and to be with the program that I am and to live at home, you know, that's what I would want. And this has worked out really good for, I think, everyone.
From the hardwood to the diamond, the action in Pittsburgh this weekend should not disappoint. For Pitt to the Point, I'm Pitt sports reporter Josh Feldman. Jackie, the Neat.
Thank you so much for that, Josh. Now, Josh, we got to know from our sports expert, what are your Final Four predictions?
You know, as a Duke fan, it pains me to say I don't have them coming out of that side of the bracket. I got to give it to Texas Tech, but in the end, I've got Arizona taking it all.
That's fantastic. And Josh, what are your who's your pick for today at the Paints Arena?
Today, coming out of Pittsburgh, I really like that Chattanooga matchup. 13 seed against Illinois. It's going to be a good one, but I really see an upset there.
Gotcha. Well, Josh, thank you so much for keeping us posted. I'm probably gonna fill out a bracket right now, honestly.
I know, me too. Josh, we'll circle back on who is right next Friday.
Wonderful. Well, after a few months, the MLB lockout is now finally over, and the Pittsburgh Pirates have resumed their spring training this past week.
The opening game is tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time against the Yankees. The Pirates have been pretty active with free agent signings since the lockout has ended, adding depth to their bullpen.
Spring training ends close to the end of the month, with the Pirates' first home game being very Pittsburgh-esque, taking place on April 12th with the first pitch at 4:12 p.m. on 412 at 412.
So here's hoping for a great season for the Pirates.
And up next, we have an update on the evolving situation in Ukraine.
Stick around. Pitt to the Point. We'll be back soon.
They come here, forged in the spirit of change, pushing to answer the questions, and then questioning the answers, embracing each challenge as fuel for reinventing the world. Because here, leadership, courage, creativity, innovation, and progress are always in progress. The University of Pittsburgh. Forge ahead.
HTP is short for Hail to Pitt, our Panther fight song. But we also use it to express just how much we love it here. There are so many reasons to hail, but here are just a few.
Hail to Kathy!
Hail to the Nationality Room.
To WPTS Radio.
Hail to Oakland.
Hail to Shenley Plaza.
Hail to Forbes Avenue.
Hail to the towers.
Hail to Cardiac Hill.
To Hillman Library.
Hail to the University of Pittsburgh.
Hail to Pittsburgh.
Hail to Heinz Field.
Hail to Pitt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pitt to the Point.
Russia's war in Ukraine entered its fourth week on Thursday. Now, Benny, could you please give us an update on what has happened since last Friday?
Yeah, absolutely, Jackie. Earlier this week, Russia struck a military base in western Ukraine, killing 35 people. This base is located less than 10 miles from the border of Poland.
Now, this particular incident amped up concerns because Poland is a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, also known as NATO. After this attack, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan went on record saying that the U.S. will, quote, defend every inch of NATO territory, end quote.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pleaded with the U.S. Congress to get more aid for Ukraine, specifically asking for the U.S. to implement a no-fly zone over Ukraine in an effort to thwart Russian attacks.
And Zelensky noted America's foundational tenets of, quote, democracy, independence, freedom, and care for everyone. He said, quote, we in Ukraine want the same for our people, all that is normal, part of your own life.
We will continue to keep you posted on this situation as it evolves.
Next up, the latest headlines from our award-winning newspaper, Pitt News on Pitt to the Point.
Spring break marked 2 years since Pitt's in-person classes ended with an unceremonious email telling students not to come back to campus due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Pittsburgh released a draft of the 10-year Oakland Plan and associated zoning proposals last Wednesday for public comment. The plan is available for review through April 6th, after which it will be presented on April 19th to the city's Planning Commission for adoption. Upon its adoption, the plan will become city policy and a guide for public and private investments. Pitt divers competed in the Zone A championships last week, and 3 punched their tickets to the NCAA championships. First year Cameron Cash qualified for all 3 diving events. He's the only Pitt first year to ever do that.
Really came together. Pitt community reflects on the 2012 bomb threats. It's about the bomb threats that happened in the spring semester of 2012. There were over 100, I believe, that happened, and they were over the course of around like the beginning of February to the end of April when the semester ended. And then
Welcome back. Thank you so much for that. These stories and more will be available by logging on to www.pittnews.com or by picking up a paper at an on-campus dispensary.
And now we have an update on the Fern Hollow Bridge from our City Beat reporter, Tori Pushman. Tori?
Thank you, Vinny. The Pennsylvania Department of Transportation's plan to replace a collapsed bridge is under scrutiny from some city officials. The new Fern Hollow Bridge design calls for 4 lanes of vehicle traffic, a 2-lane shared section for bikes and pedestrians, and a sidewalk without its own guardrail.
After the plan's rendering was released, Pittsburgh City Controller Michael Lamb penned a letter to PennDOT Secretary Yasmin Gremian, urging PennDOT to slow down and incorporate public feedback, arguing that the current proposal is not adequately accommodating bikes and pedestrians. The process of replacing the Fern Hollow Bridge is following an emergency timetable, allowing it to bypass certain public reviews. One bypassed group is the Pittsburgh Arts Commission, causing them to raise concern. The Frick Park location means that its aesthetics will be seen from above and below. Maria Montano, a spokesperson for the mayor's office, told the press that the renderings will not necessarily reflect the final look of the bridge. As for Lamb's concerns, she says that the new bridge actually gives more room for bikes than the old bridge provided. And as officials have their say, local residents are ready to join the conversation.
The implementation of the bike infrastructure is poorly thought out. They only had one side of the road where bikes can go, and it's a shared use path with pedestrians who will not hear you coming at all over the noise of traffic. And the shared use path is on the opposite side of the road to the bike lane that already exists to the road connecting to the bridge, making it useless and dangerous.
PennDOT has launched a web page allowing residents to submit public comments. So log on and make your voices heard. With Pitt to the Point, I've been Tori Pushman, City Beat reporter. Vinny, Jackie.
Of course, thank you so much for that, Tori.
After the break, we'll be catching up on the many holidays we have this week, including St. Patrick's Day and Equal Pay Day.
And Purim. Don't forget Purim.
Oh, of course.
Of course. So stick around and we'll be right back with Pitt to the Point.
They come here, forged in the spirit of change, pushing to answer the questions, and then questioning the answers, embracing each challenge as fuel for reinventing the world. Because here, leadership, courage, creativity, innovation, and progress are always in progress. The University of Pittsburgh, forge ahead.
So one inventive tool that the University of Pittsburgh has is Pitt Funds Me. So Pitt Funds Me is for outside scholarships that you can review and apply for as well. There's 8,000 plus scholarships on that website. These scholarships have been vetted as good and reliable resources, so you can guarantee that these are not resources that are trying to steal money or trying to scam you in any way. Any student has access to this, even admitted students who have not deposited yet. When you go into your my.pitt.edu, you'll want to search in the Ask Kathy box, Pitt Funds Me, and make sure instead of an S in Pitt Funds Me, you're going to put a $sign. That will allow you to go into the portal to be able to look at all the outside scholarship opportunities that fit your specific profile. They will ask several questions. You do not have to answer all questions or any questions if you don't want to, but the more questions you answer, the more opportunities that become available to you to apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pitt to the Point. Now, for the first time in 40 years, Purim and St. Patrick's Day landed on the same day this year.
That's right, Benit. Purim, which literally means lots in ancient Persian, is also sometimes known as the Feast of Lots. This Jewish holiday commemorates the Jewish people being saved from persecution in the ancient Persian Empire.
The holiday's observance has evolved over centuries, and Jewish people around the world have found numerous ways to celebrate the holiday. Some make Purim baskets or baskets of food to give to friends and members of your community. Others might take part in performing the Purim story.
Members of Pittsburgh's Jewish community have had many opportunities to mark the holiday this week, including Purim Palooza at the Jewish Community Center of Greater Pittsburgh and Purim Fest at Shabbat of Squirrel Hill.
We want to wish a happy Purim from Pitt to the Point to all of those who celebrate.
Now, Benit, despite the fact that they come from vastly different backgrounds, St. Patrick's Day and Purim do share the tradition of celebration.
That's right, Jackie. St. Patrick's Day is the day of celebration for Ireland's patron St. Patrick. Originally, St. Patrick's Day started out as a religious holiday on the anniversaries of St. Patrick's death. The Irish people would mark the day with religious services and feasts, but the holiday was transformed and secularized as the Irish people immigrated to the United States.
Oh, I didn't know that, Benit. Now, this year was the first time the St. Patrick's Day parade was on its regularly scheduled date in Pittsburgh since the COVID-19 pandemic began. And Pittsburgh St. Patrick's Day parade is actually one of the largest in the country.
Jack Goodrich, the president of the Irish Society for Education and Charity, said that about 22,000 people were scheduled to march in last Saturday's parade.
Now, I was thrilled to see that the freezing weather did not stop parade goers from enjoying the festivities, as not only is St. Patrick's Day a fun celebration, but it brings in the crowds that help support our local businesses.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And that fun is expected to continue into this weekend as businesses downtown see a huge economic boom from St. Patrick's Day and the NCAA tournament kickoff.
Oh, that's great. Now, if you are celebrating this weekend, our local law enforcement would like to remind everyone to have fun, but be safe and responsible.
Of course. And last but certainly not least, for our holiday roundup, this past Tuesday was Equal Pay Day, the symbolic day intended to raise awareness about the gender pay gap.
Yes, so according to the National Committee on Pay Equity, this date symbolizes how far into the year women must work to earn what men have earned in the previous year.
The holiday was originated by the National Committee on Pay Equity, also known as the NCPE, in 1996 as a public awareness event to shine a light on the gap between men's and women's wages.
To commemorate the day, several Pennsylvania leaders and state representatives spoke out about the issue of gender wage gaps. The Pennsylvania Commission for Women has also hosted roundtable discussions and salary negotiation workshops, in addition to advocating for equal pay laws.
And you can learn more about Equal Pay Day, as well as the Pennsylvania Commission for Women, at governor.pa.gov.
Now, after the break, we'll have an update on the missiles that hit the Kurdish capital in Iraq. Stay with us.
They come here, forged in the spirit of change, pushing to answer the questions, and then questioning the answers, embracing each challenge as fuel for reinventing the world. Because here, leadership, courage, creativity, innovation, and progress are always in progress. The University of Pittsburgh, forge ahead.
H2P is short for Hail to Pitt, our Panther fight song. But we also use it to express just how much we love it here. There are so many reasons to hail, but here are just a few. Hail to Kathy!
Hail to the Nationality Room.
To WPTS Radio.
Hail to Oakland.
Hail to Shenley Plaza.
Hail to Forbes Avenue.
Hail to the towers.
Hail to Cardiac Hill.
Hillman Library.
Hail to the University of Pittsburgh.
Hail to Pittsburgh.
Hail to Heinz Field.
Hail to Pitt.
Welcome back to Pitt to the Point.
Iran claimed responsibility for a series of 12 missile strikes near the U.S. consulate complex in northern Iraq.
Iran claims that the strike was in retaliation to Israeli missile attack in Syria, which killed 2 members of its Revolutionary Guard.
The Iraqi government condemned the strikes, calling them, quote, a violation of international law and norms, unquote, and demanding an explanation for the attack from Iran.
No injuries or deaths were reported in Iran's strike, but it also marked rising tensions between the U.S. and Iran.
And now onto our bit with exposure artists. We have Livia Rappaport. Olivia?
Thanks, guys. The Pittsburgh Foundation has announced the funding recipients of the Exposure Artist Program. The program seeks to give funding to artists in the Pittsburgh area working to spread diversity and social justice through their art. Earlier this week, I sat down with first-time grantee winner Alma Levon Rice to talk about her work with the program.
I'm Alma Levon Rice. I'm a writer. I write creative nonfiction. I create speculative fiction. So I applied for this because I happened to see, a notice appear in my inbox, and I knew that applying for things helps you hone your messaging, and it'll be good for other applications, even if I didn't win. The grant I got was the first. I'm Alma Levon Rice. I'm a writer. I write creative nonfiction. I create speculative fiction. So I applied for this because I happened to see, a notice appear in my inbox, and I knew that applying for things helps you hone your messaging, and it'll be good for other applications, even if I didn't win. The grant I got was the first time grantee award, and that's for folks who haven't received a grant before above like $2,500. I think that's the number. From what I can tell, it's the first ever cohort of awardees, and it's very much designed to break down barriers and bring in more equity. So the plan is for me to get away from the workaday world. I've heard from so many writers that you can't really replace the kind of momentum your work can achieve when you have dedicated time. And when you're juggling 1,000 things, that's hard. I think I'm still learning what it means to also be a Black writer here in Pittsburgh. When I first moved here, I found it to be hard to break in, feeling like really insular. But as I've started to make more connection, Pittsburgh so far has been a fertile place for me to write and not worry so much about the hustle. I'm just really excited to receive the grant. I am using it as this huge boost and vote of confidence that I can get this book length work done. It just really, this kind of thing, they say that you're supposed to be internally motivated, which I am, but I'm human after all. I'm human, and I'm also these other speculative creatures too. I'm a cryptid, but that's another story. All that to say, I'm human, and external validation goes a long way. I'm thankful, and you're going to hear more from me because I'm going to just keep writing until the sun goes black.
The Exposure Artist Program consists of $215,000 in grants to support Pittsburgh area artists. For more information and to read about the other awardees, visit pittsburghfoundation.org/exposure awardees. From Pitt to the Point, I'm entertainment reporter Livia Rappaport. Jackie and Monique.
Thank you so much for that, Livia.
All right, now our next story is a testament to the strength of Pitt students, new and old. Dan McCoy graduated in 2017 and has become a Paralympic hockey player who competed in Beijing. He is also a 5-time member of the U.S. men's national sled hockey team. Take a look at his inspirational story.
We put together scrimmages today that are going to allow teams to play that haven't played in a year.
Everybody knows the speed that some of these guys have. They definitely put a team together to come down here and win. This is our house. We're not going to let that happen. Let's go out there and play some hard hockey. Keep your heads in the game. All right, ready to do this? Yeah!
It's a reunion of sorts, of friends that have played with and against each other for years.
Go on. Hey, there he is. What's up? Sorry. I was trying to do what you were doing and pass the cross, and then you were there.
Don't back down, because they won't. Respect the speed that they have. And they're probably telling their guys the same thing, all right?
Pins on three. 1, 2, 3. Heads! Get out, folks, follow!
Until they get their groove, just keep pounding away on them because you know they're going to find their groove. There you go.
Turn, shoot!
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Here we go, Penguins. Here we go. Here we go, Penguins. Here we go.
Hi.
I can't with you, McCoy. All right, Pens, bring it in. Danny, take us out.
Pens on 3.
1, 2, 3.
Pens!
Good job.
It was good. We won, was it 4-0? So, good game.
Daniel will continue to encourage not only students at the University of Pittsburgh, but the whole United States in his accomplishments.
Now, folks, stick around for some really exciting news on our next week's episode for Pitt to the Point. Stick around.
They come here, forged in the spirit of change, pushing to answer the questions, and then questioning the answers, embracing each challenge as fuel for reinventing the world. Because here, leadership, courage, creativity, innovation, and progress are always in progress. The University of Pittsburgh, forge ahead.
So one inventive tool that the University of Pittsburgh has is Pitt Funds Me. So Pitt Funds Me is for outside scholarships that you can review and apply for as well. There's 8,000 plus scholarships on that website. These scholarships have been vetted as good and reliable resources, so you can guarantee that these are not resources that are trying to steal money or trying to scam you in any way. Any student has access to this, even admitted students who have not deposited yet. When you go into your my.pitt.edu, you'll want to search in the Ask Kathy box, Pitt Funds Me, and make sure instead of an S in Pitt Funds Me, you're going to put a $sign. That will allow you to go into the portal to be able to look at all the outside scholarship opportunities that fit your specific profile. They will ask several questions. You do not have to answer all questions or any questions if you don't want to, but the more questions you answer, the more opportunities that become available to you to apply.
H2P is short for Hail to Pitt, our Panther fight song. But we also use it to express just how much we love it here. There are so many reasons to hail, but here are just a few. Hail to Kathy!
Hail to the Nationality Room.
To WPTS Radio.
Hail to Oakland.
Hail to Shenley Plaza.
Hail to Forbes Avenue.
Hail to the towers.
Hail to Cardiac Hill.
To Hillman Library.
Hail to the University of Pittsburgh.
Hail to Pittsburgh.
Hail to Heinz Field.
Hail to Pitt.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pitt to the Point, your #1 source for all news Pitt, all the way to the point.
To the point. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not catch that, Jackie. I apologize so sincerely.
That's all right, Benny. We're at Friday.
It is a Friday. Okay, so Pitt to the Point will air every Friday until April 22nd from 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Replay of the live broadcast will also air Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern on WPCW-TV, KDKA-TV's cable channel, CBSN streaming, and on CBS Pittsburgh starting Saturdays at noon.
Okay, Vineet. So speaking of Fridays, I am so thrilled for what we have coming up next Friday. It will be the first time Pitt to the Point has live animals in studio.
Yes, of course. That's right, Jackie. Paws Across Pittsburgh is a nonprofit animal rescue whose mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome homeless animals. They are kind enough to be willing to bring in some of their adoptable dogs next week.
Oh, I can't wait, Benny. And I have a feeling I'm going to try to bring one or several of these puppies home with me.
Honestly, I hope I can bring my dog home all the way from Philadelphia if he can make it the 6-hour ride. And be sure to tune in to see those puppies next Friday.
And we want to thank Paws Across Pittsburgh so much. We're really looking forward to seeing you. And in the meantime, you can check out their website at www.pawsacrosspittsburgh.com.
All right. Yeah. Jackie, do you have any pets?
I do. I have a dog, Caleb, at home who is just adorable. I'm a huge fan.
Okay. And now the question that everyone wants to know, what breed is your dog?
Oh, Caleb is a Havanese. So they're from Cuba, which is kind of an interesting fact. He's a great little dog. We've had him for 15 years.
Great.
How about you?
I have a wonderful little dog, Ozzy, but we can get to that another day. All right.
Now, Vineet, we have to plug our amazing social media channels. They are Pitt to the Point on Instagram, and that's Pitt to the Point.
#2, of course. All right. So we want to thank you all so much for tuning in to Pitt to the Point. Thank you.